So here we are, just a few hours to go before the presentation. What are the things you can do to make sure it's really good? Well, the preparation really starts the day before, certainly the night before. It seems obvious, but an early night, not one up until 2 in the morning propping up the bar. And also coffee. It's a real factor when it comes to making excellent presentations. There is no doubt the effect of caffeine on most people's metabolism is such that if you haven't left at least 8 hours between your last cup of coffee and the presentation, it can have an adverse effect. Now, you'll have to manage yourself on this because I know some people just can't get started without some coffee. But think carefully about it. It does really affect things. So, a last-minute check on really whether you followed the rules. Have you thought about who the audience really is? What does this audience want to hear? What do you want to say? And where's the overlap between the two? Because that's where you're going to actually start your communication. Start saying, hey guys, I am just like you. I know where you're coming from. I feel your pain. They will warm to you. And if it's a situation where you're giving a presentation from a position of leadership, then remember that it's too easy to get hung up simply on motivating and inspiring, both of those very important. But before you can do that, what you really need to do is celebrate your audience first. Why? Because you want to make them feel good. Because audiences who feel they are valued and celebrated feel good about themselves, and in turn, they will feel good about you and whatever it is that you're wanting them to do as a result of you speaking to them. And that's important too. You really need to know what you expect to get out of this audience. After all, most presentations aren't done for the benefit of your health, and a lot of our clients say that actually it's very deleterious on the health when it comes to presentations. So you really need to know what your expectations are. And that really means telling the audience, giving them a call to action. Is there a call to action? What other things should you be thinking about? Well, make sure you've got some killer facts. Really talking about the things that make such a difference. Audiences like news they can use, a fact that they didn't know that you're going to give them that will make a difference to them. Because the great motivator in life when it comes to a business presentation is money. How can you make their lives better, more prosperous, easier? Fundamentally, it's down to doing those sorts of things. Also, remember where you are. Think of the context. It's unthinkable that if you're in a city centre that has just had some major issue, that you won't actually refer to that issue, whether it be some terrorist atrocity or flooding or some other political upheaval. Not in that direction. You don't have to be an expert on it, but you do have to acknowledge it. Those things are important too, that last-minute little bit of nuance that makes all the difference between an ordinary presentation and a truly great one. I'm assuming you've rehearsed properly. Now it's a little bit too late. Don't over-rehearse. And when in the half an hour you have before you're due to go on, think about what you might do in those final few minutes. If you can, stay away from the rest of the audience. Find yourself somewhere quiet, somewhere where you can just breathe deeply, maybe even close your eyes, just calm yourself, get yourself ready. This is going to be a performance. When you make a presentation, you are both the playwright and the actor. There comes a point in time where you have to put the pen down and you have to concentrate solely on being the actor. This has got to be the best performance you can possibly make. Remember too, the presentation starts the moment you leave your seat and walk up onto the stage. People will be making judgments about you just as you make that short journey. So make sure it looks purposeful and authoritative. Remember to smile. People like people who smile. People like happy people. People buy from happy people. This is a sales process. One way or another, you're selling something. Be absolutely clear, make sure you run to time. You'll have done this already on rehearsal and made sure you're not over time, because you'll be forgiven for underrunning, you'll be less likely to be forgiven for overrunning. And make sure that when you come off that stage, you have meant what you said and said what you meant. If you remember all that, then you should have a pretty good presentation. Good luck.